Hello. So hopefully this will be a quick video. I just want to address some of the questions that were asked in the discussion board. And I felt like this was a better way to kind of get that information out to you because I can kind of address them to everyone. So I only had a few questions, which is, I hope, good. I'm just going to go down the list here of what I saw from both classes. So this will be addressed to both classes for English 102. First question I got was from Cooper. He says, I don't have any specific questions, but I wanted to verify a general summary that I was able to interpret and take away from watching videos. Uh, so he's saying essentially the cluster analysis is a form of analyzing a person's language, rhetoric, and the deterministic screen and or filter to gain a better understanding and closer interpretation of their character, worldview, and values. I just want to verify if my interpretation is accurate and if there's anything that can be added. Yeah, I mean that's the gist. All we're really doing is we're looking at specific words that a writer is using and trying to determine if those words suggest anything about their larger worldview. So the way that someone, like in one of my classes today, we were talking about framing language like tax relief. So, for instance, if someone is talking about tax relief and they use that word relief, uh, they probably think that taxes are kind of inherently bad or taxes are not good. So you need relief from them. Um, so that would lead me to believe that that person might be maybe a little bit more conservative leaning in their political ideology because they view taxes in such a way. Um, so you're right, Cooper. That's pretty much all we're doing. Is just trying to get an understanding of what these words suggest about that writer's worldview, their larger worldview, or their values, as you put it. Next one I got was from Cameron. Um, the part I'm confused about with the cluster analysis is how do you know a word is important or not? Is a good question. Is it because of repetition? What is what is there are several what if there are several repetitive words in the writing? I know you said in the videos that you had students of 4 or some with 100. So how do we determine what is important? I think the Taylor Swift song was easy. The song is called Love Story, so obviously the words love and story would be important. I guess what I'm asking is how are we supposed to choose the words for cluster analysis? And is there a wrong way to choose the main cluster word? There's not really a wrong way as long as you can support it. So like I said in the video and like the false chapter suggests, the key term is based on frequency of use or intensity of use. So if the word's used over and over and over and over again in the song like in Love Story, then it's definitely important for some reason, right? If it's like a word that's used with intensity or even an idea, I can't remember if I said this in the video that I made, but I had a student once write about a Tupac song, and he was specifically referring to black women, but he never actually used the phrase black women. I don't think he just was using metaphors to describe black women. So what we determined was that the idea he was getting across is black women because it was sort of frequently addressed, even though he doesn't use that word. Um, so it was important. So they sort of circled all the references to black women. On the inverse of that, you might get a word that is only used once or twice, but it just has a lot of meaning to the song or the artifact itself. So usually repetition for music is what you're going to find, but it could also just be a key idea, something that's really central to the song itself. Um, another student did maybe a Chris Stapleton song about like the idea was alcohol. They kept referring to different types of alcohol, so they never repeated the type of alcohol. It was just that alcohol was sort of the main idea. Um, as for like picking and choosing, it's really up to you. I mean, you can kind of you might find, for instance, love is repeated in a song over and over and over again, and then you could also find that like the word like sugar is repeated, but maybe you don't get much out of the word sugar, or you just don't find connections with some of the other things you're finding. You just drop it. There's going to be words that are used over and over again that might not have bigger significance, and that could just depend on the word itself. A word like love is going to be clearly important because it's a pretty big concept. If it's a word like cracker or cookie, they might say cookie 3 times, but is cookie like this big concept that they're talking about in the song? Maybe not. So there's really not a wrong way to do this. It's about how you justify it, and you'll have to justify it in the essay. So it's a really good question, and I'm always happy to, run these if you run these by me in my office hours. Okay. Also, Mina said that they were waiting for my response to that. So Mina, hopefully you got that answered your question as well. Um, and then Laura said, I'm not sure I understand how we find out if a word is important. So this kind of ties in to what I just said. But basically, a word is important if you find that it has significance in the artifact and you can justify that significance. For songs, like I said, you're really going to see a lot of words repeated, and they're probably being repeated for an important reason. And if not a direct word, some kind of idea, like the alcohol song with Chris Stapleton, if that's who it is, um, where they reference different liquors like whiskey and strawberry wine and tequila and beer, and they kept naming all these different alcohols, and the student was like, "Well, these each can't be a key term," and so we determined that really the key term was alcohol itself. So just drinking was the key idea. Um, Hopefully that answers the questions. Keep them coming if you have them, and I can maybe make another video. And if not, just stop in my office hours and talk to me there.